Good day, class. You're welcome to today's mathematics teaching on the topic plane figures and shapes. Under plane figures and shapes, we'll talk about properties of parallelograms. But before we begin, we need to talk about what plane figures are. Here we have the definition as plane figures is any shape that can be drawn on a plane, which means the shape should be empty. And the plane shape is a flat or two-dimensional shape that is enclosed. So when we say enclosed, which means they are joined together. For instance, this is a parallelogram. This side is opposite to this and is equal, opposite, so both are enclosed. This is a plane shape, is enclosed. Then we have the rhombus. It has four sides, it's also enclosed. Then even the kite is also enclosed. So now we are looking at the properties of these shapes. First of all, we go to parallelogram. In parallelograms, we have these lines that divide it into equal angles as what? The diagonal lines. These are the diagonal lines. You can see it with the dotted lines. So these are the diagonal lines. So we'll take a look at the properties. Number one, the opposite sides are equal in length and are parallel to each other. These are the opposite sides. They are equal in length and they are also parallel to each other. Number two, the diagonal bisects each angle. This diagonal, it bisects each of the angles. Then number three, the diagonal bisects the parallelogram into two congruent triangles. When we say congruent triangles, we are talking about equal triangles. By the time we close up one part, this diagonal line, we're going to have triangle here and another triangle. Another triangle. So here we'll talk about the rhombus. Rhombus, we'll talk about the properties of rhombus. Here, number one, we say all sides are equal in length. So when you take a look at the diagram, you notice that the four sides are equal. And number two properties is that the opposite sides are equal. The opposite sides are equal. And number three, the diagonals are lines of symmetry. So these are the diagonal, they are also the lines of symmetry. Number four, the diagonal bisect each other at right angle. So by the time we bisect this, we close this, you notice that we're going to have a right angle. So we'll place it this way. We're also going to have right angle, which is in the rhombus. Then the next is a kite. When we talk about the properties of kites, number one says it has two pairs of sides of equal lengths. These are equal. These are equal. Number two, one pair of opposite angles are equal, as you can see in the diagram. Then number three, the diagonals are of different lengths. The diagonals are of different lengths. This one is longer, this one is shorter. Then number four, it has one line of symmetry, which divides it into equal parts. Then we'll talk about the similarities, differences. So now we'll talk about the parallelogram and the rhombus. First of all, we'll take the similarities because from the diagram, both of them are similar. Now we'll say both sides are parallel. Both sides are parallel from the diagram you saw. Both opposite sides are parallel. Number two, the opposite angles of each are equal. And finally, the diagonal of each shape bisects each other. So hence they have similarities, which means there should be differences. So in their differences, we have number one to be in rhombus, all the sides are equal, y is not in parallelograms. Number 2, the diagonals of rhombus intersect at right angle, y parallelogram does not. So by the time you go through all this, you take them one after the other, beginning with the parallelogram. You have to know the diagram, the diagonals, the rhombus, the kite. Then you have to study their similarities, their differences, their properties, so that when you come in contact with any of them, you can be able to know what you have been required of. So with this, we continue with the other properties. Okay. Now we'll talk about rhombus and kite, their similarities. Here we have number 1, that the diagonals of both kite and rhombus meet at right angle triangle. Number 2, rhombus has 2 lines of symmetry, while kite has only 1. So from the diagram, you can check both of them. Then there are differences. Like I said, anything that has similarities will surely have differences. Now the differences says kite has 2 pairs, 2 pair sides of equal length, while rhombus has 4 equal sides of length. Number 2 says a kite has only 1 line of symmetry, while rhombus has 2. And number 3 says kite has 1 pair of opposite angles of equal size, while rhombus has 2 pairs of angles of equal size. So with this topic, we've talked about plane figures, plane shapes, their properties, similarities, differences. So you can go through them often and on, go through them, because these properties, they are very, very essential, because in subsequent topics, we'll be handling some problems on it. So, while you stay at home, you have to assess this assignment. Make sure you write it, do it on your own. You don't need anyone to help you. By the time you read the notes and understand everything, you'll be able to answer the following questions. Question number 1 says, name 3 shapes which are special examples of parallelogram. 3 shapes that are examples of special angles of what? Special angles on parallelogram. Then, here we have how many sides has a rhombus? How many sides has a rhombus? When you get a diagram of a rhombus, you know how many sides it has. Then number 4, indicate whether the following is true or false. So you're going to read it from the diagrams I've given to you and the properties, their differences, their similarities. You'll be able to answer these questions. So number 1 says, some kites are rhombus. So it's left for you to check from the notes given to you if some kites are rhombus. So you have to indicate true or false. Number 2, all parallelograms are square. So you have to do that. Number 3, all rectangles are rhombus. Number 4, all kites are trapezium. And finally, all square are kites. You have to find out if all squares are what? Kite. So with this, we come to the end of today's class. Thank you and God bless.